The front yard shrunk. So growing up, my mother was either having a baby or we were constructing. So that's what my father did. He bought the business. It was called Garfield Upholstery. We all tried to become upholsterers. I was terrible. I mean, I was just awful at it. He tried to teach me. One day he was trying to teach me how to sew. My dad did everything. He cuts, he sewed, he did the furniture, did the estimates, the whole thing. And I'm sitting there on the sewing machine. I damn near sewed my fingers together. And on top of that, I was allergic to all the dust. There's a lot of dust in a furniture store. So, make a long story short, my father always telling us, I don't care what you do in your life, as long as you try to be the best at it. He says, you want to be a garbage collector, just become the best garbage collector that ever lived. And so when I went to tell him at the age of 17 that I got a job, a summer job with the Huntington Park Daily Signal as a newspaper reporter, it took me 3 days to work up the courage to tell him. It was something I always wanted to do. I had no intention of ever being anything other than a television reporter. And that's from the time I was just a little kid. In the 5th grade, and I tried like the devil to find it, but I couldn't find it anywhere. I wrote an essay where Sister Mary Louis Ann, I went to Catholic school in St. Emilius in Linwood. Yeah, that's where Helen went to school. And the assignment was, what do you want to be when you grow up? You know, 5th grader. So I'm going to be at that time I wanted to be a sportscaster, and I wanted to go into television. And that's what I wrote in the 5th grade, and that's what I've done. That was my whole desire. What I was going to do was when I met Billy Graham. I had a one-on-one interview with him. He was here in Orange County. Just a marvelous personality. I mean, it was almost, I thought like God had come down and was talking to me. I mean, he was just that's the only time that I really felt, out of my league, out of my element. I didn't really know what to say to him. Wow. I interviewed, I've been in the presence of a couple of popes. I've been there. I covered that. When I covered the last pope, when they made Father Junipero Serra a saint, I kiddingly I just, it was a joke, and somebody really took offense to it. I said, I think Father Serra is going to be the only saint in heaven. Father Serra is going to be the only saint ever canonized who didn't make it to heaven. Oh, the guy got so kicked. I mean, there's a great deal of controversy, and no one knew how to pronounce his name. All the East Coast reporters could not pronounce, Junipero. I was a kid, Catholic school kid.
Right? Yeah, we know how to pronounce
4th
it.
grade, you had to make the mission, and the whole bit. and to this day, I think that's what she thinks I did. Yeah, it really was a marvelous way to make a living, and I'm not sorry that I retired. People ask me, if I'm sorry I retired. No, I'm not. I got out just at the right time. COVID was getting hot and heavy, and I go over in detail. I mean, I don't, I don't talk about, this is not, Bless Me Father for I Have Sinned book, but it's, I tell most of the things that happened in my life. And it was a decision when I retired that made it easy, because the station, gave me a very nice little going away present, which I called Deandra that day, and it's in the book. I said, what do I do, sweetheart? And she said, well, if you don't take it, you won't be alive. So that was it. Huh. Well, I can't tell them exactly what you said, because you're a wonderful lady. I can't do that. Everything that's been good, and my character and my habits and everything and how I look at life, it all came from my mom and dad. The way we were raised, the way we were brought up. My father was a professional boxer at one time. I have a nice picture of him in there in the ring. And he was a smart, tough guy, and he taught us how to be street smart. I mean, it was very common for us on Sundays. I don't even know if people do this anymore. You get up, you go to church, you go see grandma, and on the way we would always, not every week, but we'd go through. He'd take us to Skid Row, and he'd show us. We'd drive to Skid Row. We're in the station wagon. There were maybe 4 or 5 of us, and he's saying, "This is how you're going to live if you don't go to school. You don't get a good job." Then before Dodger Stadium was built, we drive through where all the tenement housing was at Chavez Ravine. You don't want to work hard. You live in a shack like this. This is what's going to be. I'll just, And so it was a given that we were going to try to be whatever we were going to be, good at it. But he also told us about the evils of the world and what was right, what was wrong, and not everybody's nice. He told us you got to really watch yourself. So I was always kind of a street smart kid, and I always was aware of my surroundings, always. And I also always knew that the microphone is hot all the time, no matter what. But I never tried to lose my composure on the air. I never tried to show my anger. But yeah, the one you're talking about was there was a guy. He was going to be arrested, and he wasn't going to come out. And I just happened to be at the front door, and the door was open, and he picked up a shovel. And I go very casual, say, "Hey, put the shovel down, man. Come on, I'll leave. Don't get the shovel." And the other guy was just a pain in the butt. He was one of these. When they let all the people live on the lawn at City Hall. What do they call that? People's camp, the People's Camp, or whatever it was. Yeah, he had on this mask, and I was going live, and he was trying to come here. That's the only thing that used to bug me. You know, live shot, and people would get behind you. Yeah. I hated that. So I always tried to, get in a position where that wouldn't happen. So the Angels had won the pennant. They beat the Minnesota Twins, and they were going to go to the World Series. That's the year that they won it, 2002. Okay. And I'm going to do my live shot. And there was two, guys. They weren't young guys. They were in their 20s. And they got behind me. Blah, 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 And after I do my live shot, I turned around and I just let them have it. I used every expletive I can use. I was ticked. And they walked away. So fast forward maybe 5-6 years. And my daughter tells me, "Father, I met a man, and I think he's going to ask me to marry him. So he wants to come over and he wants to meet us and blah, 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 blah. But I got to tell you something. He's met you already." I said, "Really?"
No.
And I said, "What?" She said, "Well, you were doing a report at a baseball game." I said, "Don't tell me. That's the guy you're going to marry." I remember that guy. So, and don't bring it up. Don't bring it up. So we're having dinner, and I couldn't help myself. Right at the end, I turned to Scott, and I go, "So, have you been to any baseball games lately?"